Die, dee, die, die. Die, dee, die, die. Die, dee, die, die. Die, die, dee, die, die. Dee, 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 dee. Dee, 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 dee. Dee, 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 dee. Dee, 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 dee. Great tune, huh? Ay, 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 dee, da, dee, da, da, da. Ay, da, 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 dee, da, dee, da, da. Shavua Tov, everybody. Ay, da, dee, da, 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 da. Ayo, Yishamo. V'yare Yehuda. Bum, bum, bum. V'chutzos. Okay, let's learn some Torah. We're in the middle of chapter 43. We're kind of at the beginning of chapter 3. Laws of blessings on foods that are during the meal. You already have your meal, and there's some more foods. Do you say another bracha on them or not? It's always good to review this because it comes up all the time. Got a little extra light here. I hope that helps us. And we're on chapter 43, number 3. Let's say you have your meal and you want to have some fruit, not on the bread, separately from the bread. Here's the law. Fruits are not the primary component of your meal. Therefore, even if they were on the table, before you said the hamotzi blessing, nonetheless, they're not exempt in the bracha of hamotzi. You should say borei praise. You have to say a bracha rishona on them. Aval bracha achrona ain't tzrichin, but they don't need their own after bracha. Ki niftar birkat hamazon, but because then they're going to be exempted by the birkat hamazon that you say at the end of the meal. Vim einu rotze lechol below pas. Let's say you don't want to eat any of the fruit unaccompanied by bread. Raki mapas. You're only going to have it with the bread. I mean, I don't actually put fruit on my bread, but let's imagine that's the case. What do? Then it's teifel to the bread. Then it's like, it's peilim pas. They're subordinate to the bread. Let's you want to have some alone and some like smeared on the bread. You have to be careful. That first you eat it without the bread. You say a bracha on it. After then you eat it with the bread. But if you started eating the fruit together with the bread first, and then afterwards you want to just keep eating them, they're so delicious. Now you have a suffix bracha, what to do, and you don't say the bracha. Now, we're going to a bunch of notes and ideas to get through on this, and we didn't even finish number 3. Well, let's finish it. There are those who are accustomed to eating bein maichel lemaichel. You eat something between courses which arouse the appetite. For example, let's say pickled olives, pickled onion, lemons, snow, radish, etc. And although fruits would ordinarily need a bracha rishona, like a pickled olive, these are considered part of the meal. They're integral part of the meal. These olives that you're eating between courses or pickled lemons, because these are going to cause you to eat more. I guess this is the bibin. It's going to drive your appetite. You don't have to eat. You don't have to say another brach on them. Shapas patur, because then the bread that you made at the beginning, that exempts all of these things and so forth. Now, it's not just fruit. Any food that's eaten as a treat or dessert, not for the purpose of satisfying hunger, dessert would generally need another bracha. If you ever eat with me, you see that I always say mazonos if I'm gonna, cheat on my no sugar diet and have cake. which is all too often on Shabbos, right? But it's Shabbos, doesn't really count, but you still say a bracha on it, right? And they're not, let's say, you had these fruit put on the table. So these are fruits, not like the ones we mentioned later on in the Simon, right? That are eaten as part of the meal, between courses, like the olives or something. And not ones that you're going to spread, and not ones that are cooked, because potentially if they're cooked, maybe you just be saying shahakol on them. That's my addition here. And let's say the fruit's not subordinate to the bread, with which you began your meal. Once you start eating it with bread, everything becomes subordinate to the bread. Now, I'm not really going to go into this question. I'm just going to mention the question. How much fruit must be eaten with bread to be its subordinate? But I don't, people don't, it's not a big topic, but if you want to look into it, jam that you're spreading on bread would not get a break for AIDS, right? Even one of these spreadable fruits, they're called, it's still all cooked together. And once the fruit is cooked together, we get a whole lot of question about whether it wouldn't necessarily get a break for AIDS. It's going to get a shahakol bracha. The Magen Avraham, has a question about liquor. So now you're serving some liquor between courses. Is that part of the course? And so we're not going to say a bracha. We discussed it a little bit before. And so number 4, im koivea ikar. Let's say that you designated fruit. You're a fruitarian, and fruit's your main course at the meal. And you're going to have some of that fruit with the bread. Since the fruit is the primary component of your meal, then, and you're having some bread on the side, then for sure, the motzi blessing includes all that fruit, because that was what you're going to make your feast on. Oh, I thought of an idea. I thought of one. Avocado toast. There we go. Avocado toast. Avocado toast is a borei pre-eitz, right? We're talking about slices of avocado, not guacamole. Slices of avocado on toast. There we go. The bread, the fruit is put on the bread. It's niftarim. You don't say borei pre-eitz on avocado toast. Oh, so happy that came to me. Maybe that's what I'm going to have for breakfast today. Okay, so now you've got because it's part of the meal, it's exempt. Even if it was not on the table at the time, you're going to make a meal with the fruit involved in it, and it's not on the table. Still, when you said hamotzi, you wouldn't have to say a brei per-eitz on it later. Rak tzarich, you still, however, in order for the fruit to, according to all opinions, be exempted from its own bracha, it would be necessary that the first time you have the fruit, it's with the bread. Then later, and then you wouldn't have to stand with the bracha on it. So we see here that fruit especially, we're going to have to say another bracha on, but I love this avocado toast really comes to the rescue here, because it is something that people eat a lot of today, especially in California, which is fruit on toast. And we're not going to say another bracha on the break for 8. Let's say your whole meal is going to be focused on just the fruit with a little bread on the side. You want to make sure that that first bite of fruit is with